Dear friends, watch full video and don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you. 1.1 An Astrologer's Day. Icebreakers. Discuss with your partner and complete the activity. What are your strengths? Complete the following table. See, strengths. Why do you feel so? Dream career. Like this, you have to complete. For example, your strength is painting and drawing. Then, why do you feel so? So that you can visualize or express your emotions, your thoughts. Okay, and your dream career. Your dream career would be commercial artist, cartoonist. Like this, you have to find out your strengths, and then why do you feel that it is your strength, and according to it what could be your dream career. That is what you have to write in this table. Okay, next, the scene in a local market of a village or town or city is very attractive. People with different occupations sell their wares. Discuss with your partner the variety of activities at the local market. One is done for you: selling flowers, selling groceries. Number 2, selling garments and clothes. Number 3, selling imitation jewelry. Number 4, selling snacks and fast food and accessories. Number 5, selling steel and earthenwares, etc. Next, in a village or town or city, it is quite a common sight to see an astrologer sitting by the roadside with his professional equipment. Discuss with your partner and list the requirements for his trade. 1. Parrot, cards, etc. Number 2. Turban, dhoti, beard. Number 3. Dried leaves with writing on them. Number 4. Cloth with mystic signs to spread his cards. Number 5. Bed, necklace, coins, shells, etc. Next, there are certain unreasonable beliefs among people living in our society. Certain common events are linked with superstitions. List such events, discuss the superstitions linked with them and the means of their eradications. Number 1, a cat crossing your path. Usually we see this picture in villages where people saw a cat crossing their path, they return to their home again. And what is the superstition behind it? They think that their work will not become successful. It is a superstition. Okay, next. Number 2, walking under a ladder. It is also superstitions. It means it is the belief that, or superstition is that, something unfortunate will happen. If somebody is walking under a ladder, something unfortunate will be happen. So it is also a kind of superstition. Next, number 3, wearing black clothes, wearing black clothes for an auspicious function. It is also not good thing or superstition that it is a bad luck for the host. So next, spilling salt. It seems to be unlucky for the person. Next, means of eradication. So how to eradicate these superstitions? See, so eradicate all these superstitions, what we have to do? We have to develop our scientific approach. We have to think why these superstitions are making our life miserable. We have to change our attitude towards the things. Then education can solve issues related with superstitions. Okay? About the writer R.K. Narayan, 1906 to 2001, Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer, Narayan Swamy was one of the best known novelists among Indian English writers. He is the author of 14 novels, 5 volumes of short stories, and a number of travelogues, and has a collection of non fiction to his credit. He also wrote his memoir, My Days, 1975. Narayan created the imaginary town of Malgudi, where realistic characters in a typically Indian setting lived amid unpredictable events. His stories are grounded in compassionate humanism and celebrated the humor and energy of ordinary life. His stories are characterized by a simple style and subtle humor. Narayan was introduced to American readers in 1952 by the Michigan State University Press. These include Swamy and Friends, The Bachelor of Arts 1937, The Dark Room 1938, An Astrologer's Day and Other Stories 1947, Mr. Sampath 1949, The Financial Expert 1954, Waiting for the Mahatma 1955, The Guide 1958, and many other books. His novel The Guide won him the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1961, the most coveted literary honor in India. His writing is distinguished by humor and unoffending irony, a unique Indianness, and a simplicity which is utterly charming and authentic. Narayan typically portrays the peculiarities of human relationships and the ironies of Indian daily life. His style is graceful, marked by genial humor, elegance, and simplicity. Let's deal with the text. An Astrologer's Day. Punctually at midday, he opened his bag and spread out his professional equipment, which consisted of a dozen cowrie shells, a square piece of cloth with obscure mystic charts on it, a notebook, and a bundle of Palmyra writing. His forehead was resplendent with sacred ash and vermilion, and his eyes sparkled with a sharp abnormal gleam, which was really an outcome of a continual searching look for customers, but which his simple clients took to be a prophetic light and felt comforted. So, as an astrologer, he was carrying the things which are necessary for an astrologer. Then, the power of his eyes was considerably enhanced by their position, placed as they were between the painted forehead and the dark whiskers which streamed down his cheeks. Even a half-wit's eyes would sparkle in such a setting, that is his appearance, so that his customers would be attracted towards him. To crown the effect, he wound a saffron colored turban around his head, so that he wound a saffron colored turban around his head. You can see the same in the picture. This color scheme never failed. People were attracted to him as bees are attracted to cosmos or dahlia stalks. He sat under the boughs of a spreading tamarind tree, which flanked a path running through the town hall park. And he was sitting under the tamarind tree there. Now, it was a remarkable place in many ways. Surging crowd was always moving up and down this narrow road from morning till night. So it was a crowdy road. A variety of trades and occupations was represented all along its way. Other businesses were there, like medicine, sailors of stolen hardware and junk, magicians, and above all, an auctioneer of cheap clothes who created enough din all day to attract the whole town so that common people can purchase all these things. Next to him, in vociferousness, came a vendor of fried groundnut who gave his ware a fancy name each day, calling it Bombay ice cream one day, and on the next day Delhi almond, and on the third Raja's delicacy, and so on and so forth, and people flocked to him. So he was just advertising his things so that people would get attracted towards him. He gives different names to his product. Now, a considerable portion of his crowd, a considerable portion of this crowd dallied before the astrologer too. Dallied here means wasted time just hanging around, that is wandering aimlessly. The astrologer transacted his business by the light of a flare which crackled and smoked up above the groundnut heap nearby. Half the enchantment of the place was due to the fact that it did not have the benefit of municipal lighting. So there is a lack of municipal lighting. The place was lit up by the shop lights, and the place was lit by the shop lights. That means the light of the shops was used to get light for the people who were walking from that road. One or two had hissing gas lights, some had naked flares stuck on poles, some were lit by old cycle lamps, and one or two, like the astrologer, managed without lights of their own. Some of have their own lights and some just manage by their own. It was a bewildering crisscross of light rays and moving shadows. Here, bewildering means confusing or baffling. This suited the astrologer very well. That means the shadows are very useful for the astrologer. This suited the astrologer very well for the simple reason that he had not in the least intended to be an astrologer when he began life, and he knew no more of what was going to happen to others than he knew what was going to happen to himself next minute. So, astrologer, he was not much more experienced in the field. He was just new, but he did not know about astrology anything. But still, he assumed that he was going to give information about prophecy to other people. Now, he was as much a stranger to the stars as were his innocent customers. He was not having that much knowledge of astrology. Yet, he said things which pleased and astonished everyone. That was more a matter of study, practice, and shrewd guesswork. Shrewd means good at judging people, clever. That means identifying the problems of people, guessing their problems, and providing possible solutions by using astrology. Okay. All the same, it was as much an honest man's labor as any other, and he deserved wages, and he deserved the wages he carried home at the end of a day. And every day he returned the wages. Every day he returned with the wages he deserved for the day. Now, he had left his village without any previous thought or plan. He left his village. If he had continued there, he would have carried on the work of his forefathers. Suppose he was there in the village, he has to continue the work carried out by his father. What kind of work he has to carry out? Namely, tilling the land, living, marrying, and ripening in his cornfield and ancestral home. But that was not to be. But he didn't want to do that. He had to leave home without telling anyone, and he could not rest till he left it behind a couple of 100 miles. So he decided to left his home and stay away couple of 100 miles from his native village. To a villager, it is a great deal, as if an ocean flowed between. And to a villager, it is a great deal, just like an ocean flowed between. So it means it was a very long area where the village, his native village, was very far from the village he was presently living. He had a working analysis of mankind's troubles, marriage, money, and the tangles of human ties. So, see the major issues of human beings. What are them? What are these? See, marriage, more important issues in the human life. Marriage is the problem. Money, lack of money, tangles of human ties. That means human relations, quarrels, worries in the life. So he understood the problems of human ties there. Long practice had sharpened his perception. Within 5 minutes, he understood what was wrong. And when a customer arrived at him for getting a prophecy from him, within 5 minutes, he understood what was wrong with that person. He charged 3 pies per question. 3 pies per question. He just charged a very less amount there. 3 pies per question. He never opened his mouth till the other had spoken for at least 10 minutes, which provided him enough stuff for a dozen answers and advices. And he took 10 minutes when he listened the problem of the person, problem of the customer, so that he can understand and analyze the problem and give possible solution there. When he told the person before him, gazing at his palm, in many ways you are not getting the fullest results for your efforts. 9 out of 10 were disposed to agree with him. So everyone, every customer who came towards him for the prophecy, he gives this message that in many ways you are not getting the fullest results of your efforts. That means you are not getting the things, that you are not getting the better results for your efforts. So it is applicable to the 9 out of 10. That means 9 people agreed with his opinion. Or he questioned, is there any woman in your family, maybe even a distant relative, who is not well disposed towards you? And another question he asked about a woman, if there is a woman in your family, in a distant family. Or he gave an analysis of character, and there he provides a general character of that woman. Most of your troubles are due to your nature, and he gives the solution like this. He said that most of your troubles, most of the problems, troubles are due to your nature of the customer. How can you be otherwise with Saturn when where he is? You have an impetuous nature and a rough exterior. This endured him to their hearts immediately, for even the mildest of us loves to think that he has a forbidding exterior. So here, near about everyone agrees with his opinion that the astrologer was saying right. The nuts vendor blew out his flare and rose to go home. This was a signal for the astrologer to bundle up too, since it left him in darkness, except for a little shaft of green light which stayed in from somewhere and touched the ground before him. That means the nuts vendor was about to leave the place. That means at night, at the evening, he was about to leave the place. So the same time was for the astrologer to leave. He picked up his cowrie shells and paraphernalia and was putting them back into his bag when the green shaft of light was blotted out. Paraphernalia means a large number of small articles used in a particular activity or personal possession. So he was putting out the things which he carried out with him, and he was about to return to home. He looked up and saw a man standing before him. He sensed a possible client and said, and he sensed, he came to know that a customer was there and he was standing. Maybe possibly a client was there. He said to him, "You look so careworn." Careworn means you are in worry. "It will do you good to sit down for a while and chat with me." So he said to him, "Why don't you chat with me?" The other grumbled some reply vaguely, and that client replied vaguely. The astrologer pressed his invitation, whereupon the other thrust his palm under his nose, saying, "You call yourself an astrologer?" The astrologer felt challenged and said, tilting the other's palm towards the green shaft of light, "Yours is a nature." "Oh, stop that," the other said. See, here the astrologer was looking at the client, and that client, he was very much worried, and then the client wanted to ask something to the astrologer. Then in a challenge he said, "You call yourself an astrologer, that means are you a real astrologer?" Then it is something challenging to the astrologer. He said, tilting the other's palm towards the green shaft of light, and he carefully watching the palm of that client. "Yours is a nature," and he started his prophecy looking at him. Now, but the client said, "Stop that," the other said. That means the client said, "Stop that, I don't want the regular prophecies. Tell me something worthwhile, tell me something useful, tell me something important." Our friend felt piqued. Piqued means here irritated, annoyed, or resented. That means something different type of client was there. And see, "I charge only 3 pies per question, and what you get out to be good enough for your money." There, the astrologer said he will take 3 pies per question. At this, the other withdrew his arm, took out an anna, and flung it out to him, saying, "I have some questions to ask." So, as astrologer said, he was going to take 3 pies per question. Here, the client has took out an anna and flung it out to him, and just he thrown to that anna towards the astrologer. "I have some questions to ask." Then he said he wanted to ask some questions. "If I prove you are bluffing, you must return that honor to me with interest." There, the client said, "If you are bluffing," bluffing means if you are fooling others, if you are fooling me, if you are not giving correct prophecy to me, you have to return this honor with interest to me. "If you find my answer satisfactory, will you give me 5 rupees?" In reply, the astrologer said, "If you find my answer satisfactory, if you think that my answers are satisfactory, then you have to give me 5 rupees. Are you ready for it?" He said, "No." "Or will you give me 8 annas?" And another question, another situation, another condition he presented there, that was, "Or will you give me 8 annas?" So, all right, provided you give me twice as much if you are wrong, said the stranger. "I will give it double," as he said. This pact was accepted after a little further argument. So both of them were agreed that the client was going to double the amount, but here he has to give the proper prophecy, perfect prophecy of the client. Now see, the astrologer sent up a prayer to heaven as the other lit a cheroot. Cheroot means a cigar. The astrologer caught a glimpse of his face by the matchlight. So he just had a glimpse of his face by matchlight. There was a pause as cars hooted on the road. Jutka, that is horse-driven cart, was there. Jutka drivers, swore at their horses, and the babble of the crowd agitated the semi-darkness of the park. The other sat down. That means the other client, he sat down there, sucking his cheroot, puffing out, sat there ruthlessly. Astrologer felt very uncomfortable. Here, take your Anna back. I am not used to such challenges. It is late for me today. So here, astrologer was not ready to give him prophecy. Astrologer was not ready to give any prophecy to the client because he said that he was not used to such challenges, and even he was very late for the day. So he refused to give him prophecy. He made preparations to bundle up. So he was about to bundle up. That means he was winding up his the things he was carrying. He was carried out. The other held his wrist and said, "You can't get out of it now." The client hold his wrist, and not allowed him to go. "You can't get out of it now. You can't leave the place now. You dragged me in while I was passing." The astrologer shivered in his grip, and his voice shook and became faint. The astrologer was having different kind of experience there, that the client was holding his hand and not ready to leave him. He was ready to listen prophecy from him. The astrologer said, "Leave me today. I will speak to you tomorrow." The astrologer said, "Leave me today. I will speak to you tomorrow." The other thrust his palm in his face and said, "Challenge is a challenge. Go on. It is a challenge and you are not ready to go now. I will not allow you to go." The astrologer proceeded with his throat drying up. "There is a woman." And as usual, the astrologer began his way of saying that there is a woman in your life, like that. He started saying to the client. "Stop," said the other. The client said, "Stop," said the other. Say something different. "I don't want all that. Shall I succeed in my present search or not?" He asked the question to the astrologer. "Answer this and go. Answer this question, whether I would succeed in my present search or not. Answer this question and go. Otherwise, I will not let you go till you disgorge all your coins." Disgorge means yield, surrender under pressure. So, the astrologer muttered a few incantations and replied. Incantations means supposedly magical words. "All right, I will speak, but will you give me a rupee if what I say is convincing? Otherwise, I will not open my mouth and you may do what you like." So here, the astrologer put a condition before the client. What he said? "All right, I will speak. I am going to answer your question, but will you give me a rupee if what I say is convincing? Whatever I am going to say you, when you consider it is convincing, you have to give me a rupee. Otherwise, I will not open my mouth and you may do what you like." Okay, after a good deal of haggling, the other agreed. Haggling means here bargaining. The both of them were agreed. The astrologer said, "You were left for dead, am I right? You were left for dead, am I right? Oh, tell me more. A knife has passed through you once," said the astrologer. "Good fellow." See what the astrologer was saying. You were left for dead, am I right? That means he was about to die. And he was astonished by this answer. Am I right? He was saying, "Oh, tell me more." That means he was more astonished by the answer. "A knife has passed through you once." That means you were stabbed by a knife, said the astrologer. Now the client said, "Good fellow." He bared his chest to show the scar. What else? There he showed the scar of that knife. What else? And then you were pushed into a well nearby in the field. You were left for dead. See, and then you were pushed into a well nearby in the field. That somebody had pushed him into a well nearby. After stabbing him a knife, you were left for dead, and he was left there for die. I should have been dead if some passerby had not chanced to peep into the well, exclaimed the other, overwhelmed by enthusiasm. So it was his experience of the client. When shall I get at him? He asked, clenching his fist. Clenching his fist, he was asking the question, when shall I get him? When shall I get that person who stabbed a knife to him? In the next world, answered the astrologer. Astrologer answered, in the next world. He died 4 months ago in a far off town. You will never see any more of him. 4 months back, he was died. The man who stabbed him and left him for death, he was already died 4 months ago. You will never see any more of him. The other groaned on hearing it. So, the other, that means the client, was not happy with that. The astrologer proceeded, Guru Naik, you know my name? The other said, taken aback. Guru Naik, you know my name? The other said, taken aback. He tell the name of that person. As I know all other things, Guru Naik, listen carefully to what I have to say. Your village is 2 days' journey due north of this town. Take the next train and be gone. I see once again great danger to your life if you go from home. He took out a pinch of sacred ash and held it to him. Rub it on your forehead and go home. Never travel southward again, and you will live to be 100. There, he said that never return to this place again. If you return, there is a danger to your life. Why should I leave home again? The other said reflectively. That is, the client said to him again, why should I leave home again? I was only going away now and then to look for him and to choke out his life if I met him. He shook his head regretfully. He has escaped my hands. I hope at least he died as he deserved. Yes, said the astrologer. Astrologer said that he already died, so there is no need to go after him. Go after him in search of that person. He was crushed under a lorry. The other looked gratified to hear it. That means he was crushed under a lorry. He was pleased to listen it. The place was deserted by the time the astrologer picked up his articles and put them into his bag. And astrologer picked his articles, picked up his things which he placed there. He carried out everything in his bag. The green shaft was also gone, leaving the place in darkness and silence. Everybody was leaving the place. The stranger had gone off into the night after giving the astrologer a handful of coins, and that client had also given him handful of coins. It was nearly midnight when the astrologer reached home, and nearly midnight the astrologer returned to home. His wife was waiting for him at the door and demanded an explanation. And his wife was waiting for him and demanding explanation why he was late. He flung the coins at her and said, count them. One man gave all that. He had given the coins to his wife and asked to count them. One man had given all that coins. 12 and a half annas, she said, counting. After counting, she said 12 and a half annas. She was overjoyed. She was very happy by seeing that coins. I can buy some jaggery and coconut tomorrow. The child has been asking for sweets for so many days now. I will prepare some nice stuff for her. So she wanted to cook some sweets for her daughter. The swine has cheated me. The swine, he was saying swine to that client. He promised me a rupee, said the astrologer. Astrologer said that swine means here pig. He was blaming to that person that he was not kept his word, as he was agreed to give him a rupee. It was not a complete rupee. So he promised me a rupee, said the astrologer, but he cheated. She looked up at him. You look worried. What is wrong? And his wife was saying that you are looking so worried. What was the reason? He said nothing. After dinner, sitting on the pal means a string cot, he told her, do you know a great load is gone from me today? He said, after dinner, sitting on the pal, he told to his wife, do you know a great load is gone from me today? There was a great load on his head, but it was gone today. I thought I had the blood of a man on my hands all these years. He said that he was thinking that he killed a person, and it was the thought which was continuously hammering in his mind. That was the reason why I ran from home, settled here and married you. He is alive. That is, the person who was killed by this astrologer, he left that home as he killed that person. He was thinking that he killed that person, but he was still alive. And then he left the village, came to different village, he settled there, married to a woman, and that person was alive. She gasped. You tried to kill him. You tried to kill him. You tried to kill a person. In reply, he said, yes. In our village, when I was a silly youngster, we drank, gambled, and quarreled badly one day. Why think of it now? Time to sleep, he said, yawning, and stretched himself on the pillow. See, yes, in our village, he was telling the story now, that in our village, when I was a silly youngster, when he was young, he made many mistakes. At that time, youngsters drank, gambled, and quarreled badly one day. And why to think about that? It is the time to sleep, he said, yawning, and stretched himself on the pillow. And he was yawning and stretched himself on the pillow. See, here this astrologer is the one who left that village after stabbing that person. The client was not different one, the same one who was in search of that astrologer. He was about to kill that astrologer. Who? That client. That client was in search of that person. That client wanted to kill that person who stabbed him and left him to die there in that well. Okay, so it was the story behind it. R.K. Narayan is the writer of the story, and Astrologer's Day. Okay.